to episode 10 of Beyond the Scoreboard with Eric.
And Blake.
And we are currently recording at 3:58 p.m. on the 27th of May. And really quick, before we get into this episode, we want to bring our condolences to the Murray family. Grayson Murray, a PGA Tour player, took his own life yesterday, or a few days ago, just one day after withdrawing from the Charles Schwab Challenge. So, condolences to the Murray family. And Blake, you had another announcement?
Oh, yes. I hope everyone is having a safe Memorial Day. And in addition to that, an NBA player, center died, Bill Walton, due to cancer. Yeah.
Yeah. Condolences goes out to his family as well. Now, let's get into the bread and butter of this episode. We are going to recap the NBA playoffs just a little bit more in depth because obviously we've missed a lot. The second round is done. We are in now the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. To recap, in the second round, let's start with the Celtics-Cavaliers series.
Okay. Do you want me to do the East and you want to do the...
I'll do the East and you do the West.
Okay.
So, the Celtics and the Cavaliers, this was a 5-game series where Boston took it 4-1. Boston looked great out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that out there right now. They're one of the best 3-point shooters in the league in terms of the statistical percentage of it. Tatum, Brown, Horford, they looked good. And this series, I thought it was going to be a sweep, to be completely honest.
We have to remember, though, that they don't have Porzingis. Maybe they have him for some of the series.
For this series.
I know, but he was also without for, I think, like a few games in the Cavs series.
End of Game 5.
End of Game 5? He got injured? Okay.
Yeah, so it didn't really matter.
Really affect. Okay. No, but I agree with your point, but Donovan Mitchell, though, I know was out for at least, I believe, 2 games. Game 4 and 5, I think he was out for, right? So, yeah. I mean, that's a huge loss. I mean, from the previous, all I'm going to say is, like, in the first round, the second round, the only time Boston lost, really, was when the Heat and the Cavs were dominant in the 3-point shooting. Like, they were shooting maybe 30, trying 30 attempts, 40 attempts, so some crazy number. So, Celtics are all around a good team. And we'll talk about, what's happening right now. But they're very dominant. And you just cannot let them slip away.
No, I agree with you there because, again, like I said...
team's leads, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, in terms of statistical percentage, the stats prove they're the best. They're literally the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Yeah. And that contributes to a lot of their success. And we'll get to more details in a minute. But let's go over the next series. This one hurt me more than it hurt the next. The Pacers and the Knicks went to Game 7, where the Knicks took a loss. In fact, the worst Game 7 loss in playoff history.
Yeah. And on top of that, they had the best field goal percentage, I believe, in NBA.
In an NBA playoff game, that's correct.
Yeah, which was 60-some-odd percent?
It was 64%.
Yeah, it was crazy. Dude, I'm going to say it, when Jalen Brunson got injured, it summed up this whole year for us. It summed it up.
It did.
It really did.
What did he break his hand?
Yeah, he fractured his left hand.
Man, that's just unfortunate.
That sums up our season, honestly. That sums it up.
It really does.
I'm glad, we did something, but let's be real. Let's be honest.
Again, let's
If
be
if we
yeah.
if they moved on, they were gonna have Brunson, all right. They were gonna have Julius Randle. They weren't gonna have Ojan was gonna be like questionable. Josh Hart with the abdominal pain, like you're not gonna Mitchell Robinson's out. They're not gonna beat Boston. They're not gonna beat Boston. I don't care who you are. I have to be realistic. Like I know, you want to root for your team no matter what the case is, but sometimes you gotta be realistic. You don't want to be like delusional. So I mean, I did feel that Pacers would be a better fight against Boston than said the Knicks. I may be wrong about that now, but when Game 7 happened, you were like, wow, this can probably go to Game 7 against the Boston Celtics and Pacers. But we can talk about those two teams later on. You want to say anything,
West.
Eric, about the Pacers and moving on to the West? Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder and Dallas Mavericks went to Game 6. And the Mavericks won, which was very impressive. Luka, Derek Lively, Kyrie, all phenomenal players. Gafford. And it was tough. Definitely came down to wires for multiple games, but Mavericks were able to move on. Resiliency. And probably one of the best games that I've watched this postseason was the Timberwolves and Nuggets Game 7, which I've heard from the beginning of the series was that it's going to go to Game 7 and it's going to be beautiful. And it was. It was. That was so good. Anthony Edwards averaging like 35 points a game or something like that, really controlling that team and carrying it. And them winning was crazy. I was so happy.
Well, the thing is, in Game 7, Anthony Edwards shot 25% from the field.
He didn't play well, did he? He didn't play well, but his team carried him. But like he made shots but the shots that he made were like important shots. Like towards the end of the game, he gets like a wide open 3, and he
went
bangs
6
it.
for 24.
Yeah.
Which is really not that great if you put it in perspective.
Oh yeah, no, but the shots that he made though were critical, I think. Like there was a 3-pointer like late in the game that he made, which was even though he didn't do good statistically, but sometimes you see that one critical shot to seal it when you're I don't know maybe like 1 for 3, 1 for 4 at the 3-point line or something, but he made shots that were critical. And good defense by the Timberwolves in the third and fourth quarter. They really locked them down. Especially in Game 6. Especially in Game 6 and then Game 7. So, what a great series. And way to go for the Nuggets, really trying to go for that two-peat. But, overall, though, great series. That was a really good Game 7, I will admit. But, moving on to the conference finals. I'm gonna do the West real quickly, Eric, since I'm in the West. I'm just gonna do the West. In the West, we have Mavericks and Timberwolves. Tomorrow, which is the May 28th, it will be Game 4 of Mavericks and Timberwolves. The Mavericks are up 3-0 in the series, which
surprised me.
I'm shocked.
To say the very least.
I'm shocked.
I thought this was gonna be a very intense.
Well, no,
probably whoever wins this series
intense.
Probably wins the finals, but
I will admit it has been tense. It has come down to the final minutes of the fourth quarter. Look at Game 2 came down to the final 10 seconds. Game 3 came down to the final 5 minutes of the game. Same thing with Game 1. It came down to the final minutes of the game. The Timberwolves and the Mavericks are neck and neck. And the Timberwolves led a line in Game 2 when Maverick was able to pull through. I will admit
they can't finish games.
They can't finish games, and also Karl-Anthony Towns is not playing well. If you look at how like Charles Barkley and Shaq and how they talk pre and post game, they need to like find a new dynamic of how they play with their big men because they're not playing like big men. So I've heard. Like Karl Anthony Towns is shooting more threes. Like he shot like 1 for 5 their previous game. Like he played terrible. He had like maybe like 10 points by halftime. He was not playing well at all. And Karl Anthony Towns is a great player, but he's just not shooting well in this series. He's not playing well. He's not shooting the three ball good enough. Rudy Gobert just keeps getting beat off of those screens, and consistently over and over again by Charles Barkley is that they need to go small. They need to compete same height level in order to take a game. Clearly, what third in voting for coach of the year from the Timberwolves, their head coach. Clearly, their scheme is not working by keeping their original 5 out. They got to switch it up. You might as well. You're down 3-0. I mean, you can maybe keep them, maybe 4th time's the charm. But really, you got to switch something up with his starting lineup. Because Kyrie is dominating against Anthony Edwards. Because Anthony Edwards was tired. He was so fatigued playing against Kyrie. Maybe that's because, when they went to Game 7 against Denver, you can make that argument. But yeah. Kyrie was locked down. And Kyrie is, I believe, 13-0 or 14-0 in elimination games. Not for him, but when you're competing against another team, like being up 3-0 right now. He's never... So, he can do something. Kyrie's going to turn up in Game 4. And on top of that, they're home. They are home for Game 4. So, that home crowd is going to be lighting it up. Because if they win, they get, a trophy. They get to go to the finals. Because last time the Mavericks were this far was back in 2022 when they lost to Golden State. Maybe this is Luka's time, But we'll have to see. Like I said, Game 4 is on Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern Time on the 28th of May. And Eric, want to bring up the East?
Yeah, now that you mentioned that. The Celtics and the Pacers, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals together. And Boston has a commanding 3-0 lead in the series on Indy. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, Game 3, they were without Halliburton.
Yeah, but they were fighting. They
were up 18, and then they blew it.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Halliburton is actually a game-time decision.
Oh, he is? Well, last time I saw he was questionable. But yeah, it's a calf injury.
Yeah, no, it says that, but they have it highlighted as a game-time decision player.
Yeah. Well, you know who is playing well, though? Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, no, he's been playing out of his mind.
And just to reiterate, obviously, Eric, so Game 1, Boston won 133 to 128. And that was an overtime game. That's crazy.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown had that crazy game-tying three.
That was crazy. I watched the whole game. Great game. And that was scary because you're like, wow, no, Pacers are going to definitely take game two. Nope, complete opposite. Boston dominated, won by 16 in Game 2. And if you look at Game 3, they won by 3 points, 114 or 111. I'm going to say it. Pacers could be up 2-1 right now in the series. They could have easily taken Game 1 if they were not sloppy at the end of the game. And same thing in Game 3. Pacers could be up 2-1 in the series right now, going into Game 4. Let's be honest. 100%. Game 2 Boston dominated, but Game 1 and Game 3 blew an 18-point lead. Can't control the ball. They are just playing like a 6 seed. They're not playing good at all. There has been some good 6 seeds obviously, but they are showing that they are playing terrible. They are playing absolutely terrible in this series. And not to mention, before going into Game 3, the Pacers were undefeated at home.
Yeah, but the thing is, Boston was also undefeated on the road.
Yeah, but if you're a Pacers fan, you got blew out game 2.
Mike Breen, before game 3 started, said one has to go.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, Mike Breen has been saying a lot of bangs lately.
That double bang in game 1 was an absolute betrayal from Mike Breen.
Yeah. But no, crazy series that's been going on. But I'm gonna be honest. If this will be the first time if East and West both win in game 4 without the opponent winning at least winning a game, it'll be the first time in NBA history. And not to mention, you know how much time these two teams will have off? Imagine this. The series could be over by
tonight.
The 30th. No, both sides. So Boston wins tonight.
Say
by the 29th, by the 20
games. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying that because the NBA Finals don't start until June 6th. If Boston wins tonight on the 27th, and if Mavericks win on the 28th, they don't start the finals until June 6th, which is, I think, a lot of time off. That's a lot of time off, I think.
I feel like they made it that way because purely for scheduling.
In retrospect, if the Boston series went to a game 7, they would only have 4 days off compared to a week off.
4 days is just wrong.
Yeah. June 6th is game 7, and then June 6th is when the start of the NBA Finals is. June 6th at 8:30 p.m. 6 minus 2 is 4. So that would be crazy. That's when the NBA Finals game 1 starts. And then the Mavericks game 7.
Yeah, that does make sense.
The Mavericks game 7 would be on June 3rd. If I'm not mistaken.
4 days is a lot.
Well, it's a lot. A week. A week is a lot longer than what I just said. So it's gonna be intense. Oh no, my apologies. June 3rd. June 3rd. So if the Mavericks and Timberwolves went to a game 7, they would have less time off. So
yeah, because they started second.
Yeah. So if this series ends today and tomorrow, it's going to be interesting to how these players. I mean, it would be good for Porzingis especially having a week off. Hopefully, he be reevaluated. But if they get Porzingis back, that's going to be interesting because Mavericks do not have Likely as of this moment. He's not in concussion protocol anymore because he did get injured in Game 3. He got kneed to the head against Anthony Towns. So if he's out, likely due to a neck injury, not concussion, that's gonna be a big play with how Boston uses their formation and how they want to play. Because Gafford, he was in foul trouble a little bit in Game 3. And if you're only relying on him in the finals against Boston, if that happens, it's going to be tough for Maverick fans.
If I'm going to be completely honest, whoever wins the Western Conference Finals is probably going to win the finals. I just don't think Boston has it like that.
I think this.
Look at who the fuck they're playing.
Well, let me ask you. Do you think Boston had the easiest run to the NBA Finals?
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this then. If Pacers win, did they have the easiest
no
Finals run? Okay, why?
Well, out of the two of them, no, definitely not.
Out of the two of them.
I'm not discrediting either runs. I'm just saying they're just easy. Look at who the fuck the Celtics have played. Look at who the Pacers have played. Besides,
I definitely agree. I definitely agree that the West did have more competitive battles.
If the Pacers win, if they come back 3-0 down in the series and win Game 7, Right. It won't be an easy run anymore because they beat the best team in the league.
And they would be the first team to win, being down 3-0, 1-0 and 154 in history. But yeah, no. The only reason why I say that is because, in the West, you don't have that many injured players. I mean, I get Zion being injured, Kawhi being injured. But if you look on the East, look at the Heat. Jimmy Butler was out. Who was that new guy that they got that was injured with the neck injury? What was his name? He was out. When they played the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell was out. I know that was for only 2 games. Terry Rozier from the Heat. He was out from the Heat. So you can say Boston had an easy run. If you look at the Pacers, though, I think they had a very easy run. Bucks. Giannis was out. Damian Lillard was out a couple times. The Knicks, we don't need to talk about that, but they were just, they only had like 3 people left before, they had to forfeit the game because they didn't have enough players.
Now, let me ask you something before we wrap up with the
basketball
NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
As both conference finals currently have someone who is leading the series with a commanding 3-0 lead.
Okay.
How do you think both conference finals will finish? And then, how do you think the finals will finish?
Ooh, repeat that question again? I want to really think about this one.
Okay. Both conference finals.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
How do you think both of these series will finish? And then, after you've answered that, how do you think the finals series would finish?
Okay. I'm gonna go one at a time here. I'm gonna go one at a time. So I'm currently looking at my computer so I can just see the dynamic. So I think that as for tonight's game, Boston and Pacers, I think the Pacers will take game 4.
Okay.
I think Boston is going to win on their home court in 5. So I have Boston winning in 5. Boston in 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because I think the Pacers know, I think Boston's really, sitting down, really talking collectively as a group, like, guys, look, we worked this hard. Let's just do what we gotta do. Let's not change our chemistry with who we are as individuals, as teammates, as co-workers. I think the Pacers are going to come out really strong. Nembhard looked really good. Pascal Siakam looked good last game. Dallas Turner looked good. Not Dallas Turner. Miles Turner looked good. They can definitely win a game. They showed it. They just had to be a little bit cleaner. They can do it, though. They can do it. So I definitely think they can take at least one game. One game they can take.
I don't think they will, but okay.
I think they can. As for the Mavericks Timberwolves, I do have the Timberwolves also winning a game. I think that both series will end at game 5.
I think Minnesota's going to take the next 2 games.
So you have that going to game 6?
Yes.
Okay. As for the finals, if I'm going to go off of what I've just said, I am going to take Boston in 7.
So you say Mavs, Celtics going to 7. Okay, who wins?
Actually, I want to retract that. It goes to 6. It goes to 6 Boston. I have Boston winning in 6 against the Mavericks. I love the Mavericks, but, depending on, also determines on, health. Because if Likely's out and Porzingis is back or something, it's going to be really tough, I think. I have Boston winning in 6 against the Mavericks. What do you say about the finals? Who do you have for the finals? What you just said.
I think Mavs are gonna sweep. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna say Mavs in 6.
So Mavericks versus Celtics. You have Mavericks in 6 now.
Yes, they're too
Okay.
strong.
Well, that
Luka and
concludes
Kyrie are them, bro. They're them.
that. For once, we have a good duo. I'm kidding. Okay, so like some teams have like 3 really good players and they can't seem to do anything, like the Suns. Sorry. But moving on though, that concludes basketball. Now onto the NHL. And in the NHL, last time we spoke,
I believe we touched briefly on the first
second
2 or
round.
3 games of the second round. Yes.
So,
I'll do the East. You do the West.
I'll do the East.
I'll do the East.
Okay, so I'll start the West then, since I'm already talking. So in the West, Dallas won against the Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche, 4-2. No shock that Dallas is a very good team, and
Yeah, they're really good
on,
when it comes to offense. They have a really good offensive play style that I like.
From what I've heard around the league is that the Edmonton Oilers is like the heavy favorite to win.
Like the series?
No, to win the whole thing. Because the Edmonton Oilers won 4-3 against them, the Vancouver Canucks. That was a really tight series, but from what I've heard, they're all around a good team. They have Connor McDavid. So people like the Oilers the best to win. I'll talk about the Western Conference Finals in a bit. I want to do the East with the recap, and then I'll go back to the WCF.
Yeah, you got it. So Panthers played the Bruins in the second round, and that went to 6, where the Panthers took them down 4-2. I was slightly surprised with this.
Yeah,
I knew that the Panthers were going to win. I thought this was going to go to 7.
I thought so too.
After the game, Boston's Game 5 win, to force a Game 6, I really thought, because it was in Boston, Game 6 was in Boston, so I thought that they were going to take it. They just didn't have it. It wasn't even close. Their game plan was way out of sorts, and it was just it wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah, I have to, and also I have to agree. Yeah.
Next series is Rangers and the Hurricanes. Now this one was kind of scared me a little bit.
It scared me too.
The Rangers took a 3-0 series lead.
Yeah.
Dropped the next 2 games. And I was worried that this was going to go to 7.
Yeah, I was too.
Because again, Game 6 was in Carolina. So I thought that this was also going to go to a Game 7. But Rangers knocked it down. They locked in. They focused up. They changed something in their game plan, their schemes, and their plays. They changed something, and whatever they did, it worked because they pulled it out. Shesterkin has been unreal in the playoffs.
Oh, he's been crazy. May I add on to that a little bit, Eric?
Go for it.
In Game 6, I believe it was, the Carolina Hurricanes scored 2 or 3 goals while the Rangers scored 0, and they somehow scored 5 unanswered goals, and they won. They were losing most of that game against the Carolina Hurricanes, going to a Game 7. They were down by 2 goals they were down by. And 2 or 3 goals they were down by in Game 6. I was doubting myself. I'm like, wow, this is gonna go to a Game 7 in Madison Square Garden, just like the NBA.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. You made a little mistake. It was 4 straight goals, not 5 straight goals.
Game 6 was a 5-3 victory.
Yeah, but they were down 3-1 in the third.
Oh, Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
So
no
yeah,
problem.
yeah, no. Third period, we're down by what, 3 goals? You said going into the third period.
They were down by 2, and then they scored 4 straight in the third.
Like right there, that's crazy. So much game has gone by. You're just like, wow, are we gonna really lose this and force a game 7? But no, Rangers are showing resiliency. Not only, and we'll talk about. I know you'll talk about it later. A resiliency, hustle, dedication. Not only in that game 6, but also in this Eastern Conference Finals against the Florida Panthers. But if you don't mind, Eric, I'm gonna be in the Western Conference Final. The Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars is at a 1-1 split. The Oilers won game 1, 3-2 in overtime. And game 2, Dallas won 3-1. And game 3 is tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, May 27th. I think that's going to go to the Dallas Stars because honestly, they were close to winning that overtime game. They dominated against the game 2. I think they're going to keep that same energy, and they're going to have to take a game. They're going to have to win a game away since they lost a game on their home court. I think the Dallas Stars are going to take game 3. But two very hard competitors, whoever the Rangers or the Panthers play, either Edmonton Oilers or the Dallas Stars are a very good team. It's just who's going to be in it, who's not going to be in it. So, may the best man win in that series.
Thing is, right, like in game 1, obviously, like you said, that they lost in overtime to the Oilers.
Not I mentioned second overtime.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was second overtime.
It was second overtime.
I just want to point out, Dallas, again, they did something. Not with offense, because their offense was fine. It was what they did with their defensive schemes and their game plan in game 2 that really turned the tide. And if they can keep that, it's like a switch off.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If they can keep that switch on, and Edmonton's not winning another game in the series. They're gonna win. They're gonna lose every game for the rest of the series.
Hockey is very interesting with how games are played, how dynamics are worked. It's very, very interesting.
It is.
And I'm loving hockey. Like yesterday was May 26th. I was watching the Rangers game. Dude, I was so scared for my life. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But boy, I used to hate this time because, I was a big football guy. And I also never liked how hockey playoffs and basketball playoffs were around the same time. I'm like, I'd rather have one now. Like, I'd rather have basketball this month all and then hockey all next month, to make the summer not go by fast, but for me to watch something at night and just, fall asleep with, a playoff game on in the background. But you know what? The energy of both playoffs is spectacular, and I'm guaranteed at least almost every day of a playoff game, no matter if it's hockey, basketball. So it's really such a fun time right now for a sports fan. You also have college lacrosse going on. You have the March Madness of baseball going on for college.
Now that you mention that, before we move on to the ECF, High Point made it into March Madness of baseball.
They did.
They're in the Clemson Regional.
Did they win their conference or anything?
We won our conference.
Nice.
So you already know who I'm rooting for.
Yeah, just like how you
say that with a Maris sweatshirt on.
just like how you rooted for them in the March Madness and you guys got absolutely you didn't make March Madness. Ooh, that's right. Ooh.
Well, Longwood made it. Look at what happened to them against Houston.
I know, but you didn't make March Madness. Ooh. You didn't make March Madness.
Dominican doesn't even have a D1 college basketball team.
Oh yeah, baby.
They're lethal on the front fucking court.
D3, baby. D3.
Anyway, the ECF.
Oh,
Panthers
D2,
and the Rangers.
D2. My apologies.
D2. Well, Rangers, this series has been unreal.
Yeah,
Florida
it's been
took
crazy.
game 1, completely blanked the Rangers.
Yeah.
In
That was
Garden.
tough. That was
again, like I said, the offensive schemes and the game plan was changed in game 2 and game 3. By the way, both games went to overtime.
Game 1 didn't go to overtime.
I'm saying both games that they won
game
went
2,
to overtime.
Game 3.
After that game 1 shutout at home, they changed it. It was insane. They won in overtime. Everyone was going nuts. By the way, game 3, that was an offensive shootout.
Dude,
there was no defense.
I have to just get this off my chest for a second. Game 1 was bad because losing on your home court, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Madison Square Garden. Home ice, thank you. Losing that puts so much pressure on you because you have to come back game 2 winning. On top of that, you need to win on their away ice. So them showing the resiliency in winning game 2 in overtime, which by the way, at that point, they were 3-0 or 2-0, then hence being 3-0, winning this game, then being 4-0, or 4-0 after them winning last night in overtime. I believe they're undefeated in overtime right now in the hockey playoffs. But dude, it was scary. Game 2, 1-1 split, it goes into overtime, overtime's so scary because, just like that, a puck going 80 miles an hour, just like that, the game's over and you lost. But luckily, we were able to win. We, going down 0-2 was just not an option. Especially going to, not Carolina, Florida, you just could not let that slide. In addition to that, you have to win an away game. You have to. Them winning.
To be honest, you don't. You can win the series without winning on the road.
That's fair, but I'm
just pointing it out. Cleveland did it in the NBA in the first round.
But how I look at it is that an eye for an eye. You win on my court, I'm gonna win on your court now. Let's see how this goes.
I get that. I'm just saying it's possible.
Oh, yeah, and I should maybe word that better, but you're absolutely correct. I just thought that, and also, I think, but then again, I know you don't have to, but if you lose both times away, Panthers are gonna be up 3-1 in the series. Then you don't want to be like back home, then, because you're gonna have to technically get a win away. Especially if they didn't win game, because they lost game 3, they'd be up 2-1 right now. We would have to win game 4, because then if we lose that, it will be 3-1, and then we would have to win in New York, and we would have to win in Florida. So we would have to at least take one game away, and we were able to do that. Hopefully, we can, bring that same energy. Maybe without those fouls, because there were multiple penalties for the Rangers in terms of contact and hitting. There was this one player that got, one of the Rangers guys hit this one Panthers guy right in the face. He got a 4-minute penalty. But Lafreniere, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Lafreniere, he played amazing. That one beautiful goal, if you know what I'm talking about, it was beautiful. It was, I believe, goal number 3. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful.
The OT winner was nicer, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that was very nice because that made us actually win the game. But it was a little bit scary though, because going into that third period, they were up they were up by 2, and the Rangers gave up 2 in like a matter of like 5 minutes. So the Florida Panthers did have some fight left in them. But before going into this game though, there was a total of 6 goals.
There were 4 in the first period alone.
Yeah, this had a total of 9 goals. So the stakes have been upgraded, very much so, I believe.
Now, I'm
And
going to point this out really quickly. Before I ask you the infamous question that I asked you a little bit ago.
Oh, all right.
The Rangers need to find some common ground with Florida because Florida's going to come back swinging, especially on their home ice. The thing is, they split in the Garden. Florida's going to work to split at home. And then Game 5 back in the Garden is going to mean something to both teams and not just one. Because let's say here, let me paint a picture in your mind really quickly. The Rangers, right, in Game 5 or in Game 4, let's say they pull it out. Let's say they sweep in Florida. It's going to be a 3-1 series. Now, while you may think that Florida has the opportunity to cause some damage in the Garden, again, like they did in Game 1, and keeping up with the fact that you're down 3-1 in the series and you have something to lose.
So the question's what?
It's not a question. It's just pointing out the facts. Like, Florida is going to look to split at home. Not lose Game 4, because Game 5, you got something to lose, so it will encourage you to play harder.
Not to mention you're playing in Madison Square Garden for that Game 5.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to deal, and I've said this last episode too. You got to deal with the pressure of being down 3-1. You're dealing with the playoff pressure, the fans, being on national television. You're dealing with the fact that you may become a part of history. All of that crumpled up together into one game, down 3-1 in the series, can be very heavy on somebody.
But hey, it could be amazing for someone. They want that pressure. They want to show up. Like Anthony Edwards,
fucking psychos.
like Ant-Man. You know, Game 6, he said, I want a Game 7. And he showed it. He proved it. Sometimes players just love, it's like, think of it like this. Think of, you got one day to write a whole paper. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to Game 7 this paper. Started at 9 o'clock, get it done by midnight. That's a Game 7 for some people. Some people like that pressure. Some people like that pressure, doing a paper at the last minute. I don't know why.
Yeah, psychos.
Think about it like that.
Psychos.
Yeah, psychos.
Psychos. And also there are psychos that feed off the attention that I've listed.
Yeah.
There are people that like that shit.
Might I add on? The Panthers had 108 shot attempts in the game, and the Rangers had 43. The Panthers had 41 shot attempts in the third period. The Rangers had 11. The Panthers had 37 shots on goal in the game. The Rangers had 23. The Panthers also that they are so dominant on offense. The Rangers just gotta be a little bit better coordinated, offensive, defensively.
Like Game 3, the Panthers outplayed them.
Yeah, no, because if you think about and there was one play where I believe it was Miller. He was out of the zone. He was out of play. And there was another one where they were trying to clear the puck. They passed it right to a Panthers guy, and they scored a goal. They're playing sloppy, but not to the point where they're losing games because of it, because of the famous Igor Shesterkin. What a goat he is. I hope he wins. He deserves it. He's a great player. I would love to see him, accomplish something. But they gotta play a little bit better together. It's a good win for Rangers fans, but you know what? Just playing a little bit nicer, a little bit neater, and they'll definitely get the job done. Not only in the Eastern Conference Finals, but in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Now, I'm gonna add on to that a little bit.
Yeah.
And add on a little bit to what I was saying before. Now, again, like I said, Florida's gonna look to split.
Yeah, they're gonna look
tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But a really
they're gonna try their best.
A really good thing that they kind of rely on, and you have seen it in the past 3 games of this series. They're really good when it comes to power plays and then killing them off too.
Yeah, they scored 2. They scored on Game 3. They scored 2 goals on power plays because the Rangers need to get their stuff together.
Now, granted, the Rangers scored a shorthanded goal too, but
yes, to be fair though, the Rangers, they are a good team when they're on the ice, because when you're on the ice with 5 people, or whatever the amount is, 5 people, it gets that camaraderie and chemistry together. When you got some guy checking them in the face, that's really helping the team out when a 5-4 power play. Not to mention, you got 2 goals scored on because of those power plays. So the Rangers need to clean up their chemistry by Rangers players not getting benched for 2 to 4 minutes because of, I hate it, because of, wanting to fight. I get it, it's hockey, I'm looking at it from a football or basketball perspective. It doesn't happen that often. Or, penalty minutes by 2 or 4 minutes, but the Rangers just got to clean that up a little bit better, because that game could have ended really bad. And if the Rangers did lose, I would be saying the same thing. But Rangers were able to pull out on top, though, which was, awesome. But look, they still need 2 more wins. Florida's still in this thing. If you look at it from a Florida perspective, you're doing great on the power play. You're doing great offensively. You came back late
Doing really
in the
good
third
at
period.
killing the power plays.
Yeah. If you're a Florida player, you're still in this. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're still in it, but
Now, before we wrap up with this episode, Blake,
Yep.
I'm gonna ask the same question I did with the NBA playoffs.
Shoot.
How do you think each conference final will finish?
I think Game 6.
Start with Western.
Game 6 to Dallas.
Okay. See, the ECF is difficult. It's hard to tell.
It is.
I say Florida in 7. Florida's gonna find a way. I hate to say it.
I was gonna say Rangers in 7.
Look, I want the Rangers to win, but I think the Panthers are gonna figure it out.
I know when this episode is gonna air, obviously tonight, but I know people won't be watching until tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow morning. But
if the Rangers win tomorrow, I say in 6.
Well, the thing you keep in mind,
if they win tomorrow, in 6. If they lose tomorrow, in 7.
Again, I hate to say it, because I love right now watching the Rangers is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I think that the Panthers are going to figure it out. Maybe not. Well, yeah, probably tonight. And then I think they're going to flip-flop 5 and 6, and then they'll take 7 back home. And for me, with Western, I think Oilers in 7.
Oilers in 7.
I think
that's a good pick.
Dallas is going to find a way to lose.
Good pick. But
now for the important question, Stanley Cup Finals. So you said Rangers in 7 and Dallas in 6. So it says Dallas, New York final. How is that series going to end?
Rangers in 6. Now, as for you, Eric, you said
Oilers and Panthers.
So you did the complete opposite of what I did.
Panthers in 5.
Who do you have? Jeez. All right. Wow, you think it's going to be a quick World Cup. Not World Cup. Stanley Cup. Yeah, this is soccer.
Oh,
man. When is the World Cup? It's every, 4 years or something?
Yeah, every 4 years. I don't even know.
Oh.
Wow.
But, also, real quickly, though, the Yankees did lose yesterday 2-5 on May 26th, 2-5 against the San Diego Padres. The Yankees have a 37-18 record, which is very well. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge is playing really well.
Yeah, no, Judge has locked in, dude.
Yeah, he didn't have a good start, but now he's got the ball going. He's got that ball going high. Yeah. High and by. Yankees on American League East number 1. They are ahead by the Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles.
They've only lost 6 games. Yeah. They've only lost 6 games in the month of May.
Home, Yankees are 18-8. Away, they're 19-10. Their last 10 games, the Yankees have been 7-3. So Yankees are doing very well. I know we have some Mets fans out there. The Mets are cool. Yeah. The Mets are 22-30. They're playing terrible. Also, very sad news out of the National League East.
7-3 in their last 10, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Who?
The Yankees.
But yeah,
they're 7-3 in their last 10.
Terrible news from Baltimore. Ronald Acuna Jr.
Baltimore? That's Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta Braves. What am I doing?
It's been a long day for you.
What am I doing? But my apologies for that. The Baltimore Braves being 30-20.
No, it's still not Baltimore.
Atlanta Braves. Why did I think of Baltimore? The Atlanta Braves lost their star MVP player, Ronald Acuna Jr. My apologies. Acuna. My apologies.
There's the squiggly line for a reason.
All right. Well, I'm not. All right. How you doing, Mr. Smarty Pants? Well, you just did it. He tore his ACL, which was devastating for him.
That fucking sucks.
That sucks. He was having a good year, I believe. But other than that, there's still a lot more ball to be played in baseball. So the Atlanta Braves are 30-20, playing the Washington Nationals, and the Braves are losing 5-0, top of the third.
The one thing I can't believe, the Phillies are the top team in the MLB right now.
The Phillies?
Yeah.
They're 38-16. I think that's pretty good.
But Cleveland, as of right now, they look like a dark horse. They're currently on a 9-game win streak.
The Cleveland Guardians. Now that's a team I wasn't expecting to do well.
Now, granted, the Yanks are only 1 game behind.
I'm surprised the Mariners. They're first in the American League West. I thought the Rangers were going to be up there by now. Oh, let's go. And the Angels are in last place in the West. That's what I like to see. Well, I'm sorry. I know Mike Trout's injured, but I as you guys know, I wrote a paper about the Angels and how they are not going to do well. And, yeah, pretty good
Current
paper.
Worst team in the league, it's the White Sox.
Yeah, well, hey, I wrote about the Angels being bad, and boy, did I write a good paper. Because not only did I get a good grade on it, but I think I was pretty accurate with my information.
I just want to see Boston fail. Like the Red Sox, they just need to stop.
Well, the Red Sox are third right now. They're 27-27, which is not the worst, but
Well, they need to start losing some games.
They're 10 games behind, or 9.5 games behind.
Yeah.
The Yankees. But other than that, Eric,
I think we're ready to end this episode.
All right.
Well, thank you for watching episode 10 of Beyond